Video brought to you by Morante Plumbing and Oil. Morante, the #1 name in plumbing.
Another edition of the Outlaw Blitz podcast. Big fella, we're about to get dangerous.
Yeah, we very
Let's
well
get
could.
dangerous.
Yeah, I'm fixated on something sticking out of one of your ports on your top of your phone. Pocket fuzz or something.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Rice Krispie.
There you go. Fuck it.
Something. I don't know. As you can see in the video, we have our guy Hughesy with us today.
Hughesy is in the house. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
There's only one way to welcome him. It's in your hand.
It is.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Dangerous already.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Crap.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Get me nervous before I even sniff it. What the hell?
Smelling salts.
Jesus.
Yep.
They'll wake you right up.
It'll clear a cold you're going to have in January out.
Woo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They've kind of lost their luster. So, I got us something else.
Okay.
Blue, green, orange, or purple.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, you don't need to take them out.
Oh, no?
Nope.
Green. Jets green, baby.
Blue, orange, or purple.
Orange.
And I will take blue.
Friend of the show, Mike Spallino, swears by these things.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I do not know these. So everybody knows.
Give it a
these
twist.
are
Boom
sticks.
Are they authorized by the Costco guys?
The Costco guys?
You never seen the Costco guys?
No.
Oh shit! They review Costco, but then somehow they got looped into AEW wrestling because I guess the one guy used to be
a Costco oil man or something?
No, a wrestler, and they got millions of followers on YouTube. Go figure, reviewing fucking Costco.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Woo. That's good though.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Oh.
It's like a menthol orange.
Yo, that's good.
All the way in the back of the throat.
That's
that
good.
One.
Yeah. It's like a burn going down there.
There it goes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, there was no way I was touching the lavender one. I'm good on the. I'll keep this in my pocket though.
Oh, that's good.
It is good, right?
It actually is kind of refreshing.
It is.
It is.
Wakes you up too.
I'm gonna hit this before I put my CPAP mask on at night.
So we are definitely saying thumbs up to the boomstick.
Yeah, hell yes, absolutely.
3 thumbs up here.
Yeah.
I gotta do it again.
They get it up in the nasal passages, down the back of the throat. It's everywhere.
You do. And you're right. Right before you put the fucking mask on?
Well, it never fails. Every night, 5 minutes before, I'm putting the water in the tank and getting ready, and then I get stuffy. I don't know. It's like fucking reaction. Then for the first 10 minutes, I got one nostril open, the other one's clogged, and eventually they both open up. But this will take care of that. Holy shit!
There you go.
That's a hell of an idea.
Mine's winter mint. Or no, mine's regular mint. You got
mine's winter mint.
And you got tropical mint.
Take a deep inhale now from your nose. It's still there.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
That's like it's like you know when you chew Icebreaker's gum.
Yeah.
That's what that is. I'm getting right now.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And I'm almost wondering if I got boogers running down my face or something.
What's yours kind of smell like?
Like mango, orange.
Oh, nice
combo.
Yeah, I get it though. I feel like my nose is wet. It's not. It's just a cold feeling.
Cold up through there.
It's like
that's good though.
You put me on camera and got something to make my boogers run down my face or something.
So we're trying.
Outlaw Blitz is doing coke in the studio
today. Yeah, it's a boomstick, all right? It's just a little dry cookie.
That's all. Damn, that was good.
Yeah.
From the TikTok shop?
TikTok shop.
That's become one of your go-tos.
Now,
You get a lot of different stuff. What's that?
Where's the TikTok shop?
If you just have right on your phone, TikTok shop, yeah. And I think they were like 70% off when I got them. So
here's a little tidbit to lead into with TikTok. So Drakowski showed me you can go in your settings and you can reset your algorithm.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it did because I got 9 videos in a row of a human taking their last breath and dying.
What kind of morbid shit?
I went right back into my settings and refreshed again. I'm like, take that the fuck away. I don't want to watch any of this. So, man, that's good.
Yeah. And you keep going.
They're gonna.
So
we're getting tested one day.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's good stuff. Yeah, it was fucking strange that was the algorithm that it kicked to, and I was like, nope, not doing this.
Yeah.
I watched TikTok to laugh, not
maybe learn a little something.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into a Tim Kirchin talking about Ricky Henderson and different players and different things. Pedro Martinez throwing a perfect game through 9 innings, went out to the 10th. You know what I mean? He goes, think about, and being a baseball fan, you'll understand this. He goes, think about the situation. He goes out to start the 10th inning. Ground ball to second, ground ball to second, fly out to right, strikeout. He still hasn't given up a hit, but loses the game 1-0.
That's terrible.
Right?
10 perfect innings.
Right.
That's all.
And would still lose. That's why the runner on second.
Listen, the more and Kirchin's a great guy to do it, but the more you look at Ricky Henderson, the more an argument can be made that he might be the best to ever do it.
He said he's one of the 8 best baseball players ever.
Yeah.
By far the best leadoff hitter in the history of the game.
Yeah. Runs scored, batting average. He did everything, and he did it his way.
Ricky fast.
The best was I don't want to hear about no John 316. Ricky hitting 330.
What else been going on with you, buddy? What's been going on with you?
Work, and some more work. It's just one of them weeks.
Yeah, got something accomplished though on Thursday.
Yep.
That's a big deal.
Definitely.
The song we came into, Blame It on the Rain. If you live in the Northeast, it's fucking rained for like March on.
I haven't had a weekend yet where I've gotten 2 sunny days.
I think they said, I believe it was just last week, a weatherman came on and said, our area, the Hudson Valley, hasn't gone from Friday through Sunday without rain since like February 2nd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some ridiculously long amount of time without, a dry weekend.
It comes to me thinking here that we got Hughesy in studio, and we have the ultimate opportunity at a really good interview
of
the carnival life.
Oh, great!
Listen,
put them on the spot.
This is when they're all suffering.
It has to be.
It rains.
When it rains, because nobody's going to come out and do.
So, this weekend you have Gillette shows out of Pittsfield, Mass, up in Kinderhook, and it's only a weekend event pretty much. So, you could picture paying all your DOT, all your fuel to get to a stop, and then be sitting there with all those major millions of dollars of rides to be totally rained out and got to pay your help. Get them to tear it all back down, wet, to move to another town, to try all over again.
Yeah, I'm sure these major companies, there has to be a pretty big buffer built in to deal with weekends like this.
Yeah. No matter how big or small you are, when that's 90% of your take is weekends.
Yeah.
The rest of the week you're just trying to pay your normal bills.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I don't know, isolated, limited. Most of my life travel has been the Northeast, Florida, now South Carolina a lot, but I've never ventured off the East Coast. You got lucky the last couple of years. We were able to go overseas, go to Ireland, England,
even when I
Italy.
went to Texas earlier this year. It was beautiful, weather-wise. You know what I mean?
But you've been pretty much all across the country?
I've been as far as Missouri,
Okay.
playing with shows, Florida, and up into top of Maine.
Yeah.
So I mean, the entire East Coast, out as far as Missouri, Wisconsin State Fair, Missouri State Fair, stuff. A lot of exciting times.
Yeah. Good times, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Actually, my oldest son, he's from the Wisconsin State Fair. We figured out that's when my wife got pregnant from.
There you go.
Was it on a Gravitron?
Well, there was an engagement ring still laying in the floor of the Gravitron that the wife threw that week.
Oh boy.
And then I think it was kind of makeup time, and that's where my son came from.
That's when you go on that slide, the up and down slide
Well,
a few times.
I was out there moving trailers for a company, and I wasn't supposed to be running the Gravitron. And she come down and caught me rocking the Gravitron, DJing from the inside. So when the door of the spaceship went up, all I seen was her standing there at the steps. So I knew I would catch you here, and here come the engagement ring flying inside.
Oh, jeez.
So everybody had to stop, get all the people off, and find my engagement ring.
Now, you're a coaster guy, right, George?
Yeah.
You do coasters?
Yeah.
What's the craziest or most, like, asshole clenching coaster you've ever been on?
I don't like drop coasters.
Yeah.
Like Sasquatch up in Great Escape.
King Ka.
I don't mind like when they bring you up and then you just drop. I don't like when they shoot you to the sky and then you don't know when you're gonna drop.
Right.
Like if I'm up there and you're like, okay, we're gonna drop. Whenever you drop, you just know you're dropping.
So you're good with that slow build up. Because you know when you get to the top,
these
you're
are
going to
just
crash.
straight drops.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No,
Yeah.
I don't do good on the fucking pirate ship, much less a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I don't mind wooden coasters because I don't like going upside down.
Yeah, but they fucking beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
They do.
They wrap
Rock
you
your
around.
kidneys.
Yeah.
You would like Catwoman's Whip.
I went on it. That's probably one of the
Favorite,
more fun ones. Yeah. That and what's the big one up in Great Escape? Is that Rolling Thunder?
Comet.
The Comet. Yeah.
Just don't take Rodriguez on it. He cursed me from one end to the other. Damn you, just goddamn you, damn.
Hughes, do you have a favorite
And a few
ride?
other rides. My favorite rides, I love coasters. Now I'm too big and fat to fit in most of them. But I always like, as far as running rides,
yeah,
I love running kiddie rides. I love watching the children laugh and smile and not have a fear or a bad thought in their mind for most of them. I mean, you get kids that'll cry and be upset because mommy just went around that other circle and they don't know if they're coming back to her. But that's how me and my father started in the business, is just watching little kids, the innocence of them being on there, just forgetting about, mommy didn't have breakfast for us today, or I wasn't able to do that, or I got to ride this little spaceship going around a circle. Yep. And life's thoughts all went away, but nothing but fun.
Didn't you guys have a train or something?
But yeah, we had several. We had trackless trains. We had trains that were on tracks. We had 3 different trains, 3 different Ferris wheels, 3 different merry-go-rounds, because we were small, so we did try to do multiple events.
Right.
And stuff. We were up to 7 rides at one time. But, it's a lot of fun, but a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If it wasn't for family and friends, so many times I wouldn't have survived because of weather like this.
Yeah.
And stuff. I would have had to close my doors years ago. And then, of course, COVID wiped out all the small show people like me.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to a town, right, you have rides, Highland has a food truck. Do you guys see the same people pretty much from place to place?
Sometimes.
Or area to area?
Yeah. Like, I've talked to you about other people that we just passed and stuff.
Yeah.
Other small guys, other schmoes. We had a contract for the Madison County Fair in Madison County, New York, between Norwich and Utica, basically, that county fair is. And we weren't big enough to play it. But we took the contract from the county, and then we brought in 2 other small shows with us. So this way we put in about 20 rides to be able to play a small county fair.
Right.
And stuff. Yeah.
So let me see if I got this right. Kizan, Yizu, Spizzy, Kizarni?
You don't know.
You lost me on that one.
No.
Yeah.
That's maybe wrestling Carney speak and actual Carney is 2 different languages.
Well,
Must be.
a lot of the old circuses and stuff would all use like different Romanian
Really?
things and stuff. There's always different terminology, and most of it came from the old circuses. And then as carnivals went on and stuff, a lot of the old show people and stuff would use different languages like that, and different things. They say, "Hey, Rube," that means there's Carney in trouble, and it's Mark versus Carney, and Mark would be the town people.
Right.
That's
So that's wrestling.
If you
Mark,
heard somebody yell, "Hey, Rube," you grab a wrench or a piece of wire or something like that and go running ready for battle.
Something's going bad.
Yeah. But that's the old time. None of that really happens nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, how much regulation came in and changed?
Well, that's it. That's why you don't have good rides no more. You don't have good games no more.
What's a fucking ride if it's got to be regulated? I mean, the chance that it might fall apart is half the fucking battle.
Makes it Action Park.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Action Park. Remember really how much
fun people used to have going to Action Park? They'd go all the way down there for it because the rides were awesome. The water rides.
You might drown in a wading pool.
And that's what happens.
Get attacked by fucking snakes in the speedboat pond.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so much fun. You loved it. It's no different than being out on your four-wheeler, riding with people, or being out on your boat and whipping around doing silly stuff, or your bicycle.
Did you ever get a chance to see the HBO special about Action Park?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
I've seen plenty of videos. There's so many videos on YouTube for it and stuff.
We've discussed it on here not long ago where I was telling Boston and Katrina at the time, I was at Action Park and I jumped, and right after me, because Snapple was sponsoring the bungee jump.
Oh.
And I said the guy right after me jumped, but he wanted to go head first. He'd dive head first with it. And the fucking thing snapped. And it's in that Action Park thing. And I just get done telling them this. They're like, yeah, right. And they're like, or when the guy did the bungee jump. And I remember looking back. It was the guy that I went up the thing with. They're like, you want to go feet first or head first? I'm like, I'm going feet first. Are you fucking nuts? And I kind of just held on to it. Dude after me goes, and I'm like, here he comes. That thing snapped, and he caught the edge of the airbag. That's the only thing that saved that dude.
God.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts.
Nuts.
That place was nuts.
The guy that
got stuck in the loop.
Right, there were so many accidents that, again, regulations. They were requiring this guy to carry X amount of dollars of insurance. Well, he created a fraudulent insurance company and produced all these fraudulent documents. Hey, I'm covered.
That's it.
They didn't have any coverage.
He had his own ambulance too.
Yeah,
yeah. You gotta watch it. It's on HBO Max.
It's insane. They said the rides.
Class Action Park.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
They said half the rides were unattended because they always hired teenagers, and they were up fucking in the where they would punch in and stuff, the friggin' employee house. So it was brutal.
They were punching their time cards.
They sure were.
Well, that's it. But now you can't really have a fun ride in New York State. The liability, just like you can't go ride an elephant no more at the fair.
Really?
Yeah. New York State stopped all that.
Wow.
That had to be very recently because I have a picture of...
When's the last time you went to a circus and seen real exotic animals?
No, I just went to Ringling Brothers and there was no animals in it.
Did you really?
Dogs, cats, maybe a monkey or something like that, but mostly all domestic animals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you can't have all the exotic animals now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because the animals were abused.
Joe Exotic ruined it for everybody.
But most exotic animals like that were never abused because the person, if you owned a tiger or an elephant, they're your livelihood. That would be like you taking your bulldozer and driving it off a cliff.
Right.
You wouldn't do that because that's your livelihood.
Right.
So these people loved and took care of these animals and stuff. But a lot of people don't understand training and different things like that. So right away, oh no, it's abuse and stuff. No different than somebody telling you, don't spank your child. That's child abuse. Yeah, well, your child that's over there taking candy and screaming and crying in Walmart because you won't give him none. Well, 16 years, 18 years from now, he's the kid that's going to be in the county jail.
Yep.
Because you gave him everything he wanted and he thinks he can have whatever he wants.
Yep, Walmart people.
Listen, think of just our area and what, regulations have. Catskill Game Farm was a staple for years and years and years.
I know Christina's got pictures with her and Chris on an elephant.
Right.
Out of all things,
Right. Carson City.
Yeah.
Had
I
mean, that wasn't really as much rides, but you had some.
The donkey used to walk around in the park.
Yeah.
All free. just walk around and go up to greet people and stuff like that.
That's
You
wild.
couldn't have that now.
You'd horseback ride as
Yeah.
a sheriff with a cap gun.
Yep.
I mean, this area was hit very hard when all that regulation stuff came
And you
up.
guys see
Ponderosa
it.
Ranch.
You guys see it now weekly on your drive up to the camp.
Yeah.
What used to be a thriving vacation area is now just desolate.
Everything from the Ace of Chubbs onward used to always be full. Like
Right.
all those little hotels and all these spots.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, oh, that's a pipe place now. That used to be horseback riding and go-karts. Oh, that's, I don't even know. Maybe that's homeless living. I don't know. But that used to
That's
be a
just it.
vacation
Yeah,
area.
the hotels. That's how they're surviving now. If they're still around, is they're getting people assigned there from social services, and the resort area. Forget it. You drive past the Friar Tuck. I was talking about somebody that
We
worked this
just
week.
talked about
That-
this on the ride
on the
down.
That
ride
place
down
was
here, we were
thriving.
talking.
I said I would love to have bought that place.
Yeah,
But the hotels that are alongside the Friar Tuck in that area,
Yeah.
almost all of them are all taking in social service people.
right.
We have buses that go from the city of Kingston School District all the way up there into Greene County to pick up kids because they have to go to the Kingston school system
That,
because
Wow,
they
stuff.
couldn't find them a
That's
home in
insane.
Kingston.
wow.
So
Yeah.
different situations like that, and it's all over. It's not just there, but
Yeah.
all those backwoods areas and stuff where people made livings, all gone. And it's the same thing with the small shows. That's why you see so very few small carnivals nowadays.
Yeah.
All you got to do is go on YouTube or any of the channels like that and look at rides. Look at people up on the deck of a big music ride, laughing and having fun and
Yep.
slapping each other's hands and stuff. Watch how fast the ride's going, for one.
Right.
Because in this country, you can't have them going that fast. Even if it's the same ride from Europe, you can't have it going that fast. And every ride here has to have a fence around it.
Yeah.
For me to put out a little train ride that does 7 RPMs, 7 rotations per minute, you can walk faster around the perimeter of the fence than the ride turns. I have to have $1 million coverage in New York State.
Wow.
That's every one of my bounces to be able to take money and use it for commercial purpose. This is why you only find bounces mostly nowadays with the rental companies and stuff like that. You don't have attendants on them. They're just renting it to you because now it falls under your homeowner's insurance
Right.
and stuff. Because everything like that, I'd have to put a fence up around my bounce so that you can't walk into it and trip over top of that big 30-foot in the air bounce.
Yeah.
You know?
Remember, like the Mafia Mansion up in West Saugerties? They
Yeah.
had their own carousel and Ferris wheel and everything right on the property for years, and then they would decorate them,
Christmas
direct
time.
them all up for Christmas time. That was always a must see.
Yeah.
But did you ever do like rentals for like private people that would want you to come up and set up like the small
Oh, yeah.
train rides and bounces? and
Yeah,
stuff
I used
like that?
to do a lot of stuff down in Westchester and Yonkers and things like that. You know, a couple times down onto the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, big bucks. I'd go down and put carnival rides right in their backyard for them and games and cotton candy machines, all that. But you're talking $2,000-$3,000 for an afternoon.
Yeah.
You know?
What ride? Like, how did your dad get into owning rides or the?
My
Which
father
used
was a
amusement,
furniture
correct?
upholsterer. Yeah, my father was a furniture upholsterer.
Yep.
And when the carnivals would come around, they knew my father would reupholster carnival seats, like Ferris wheel seats and
Yep.
any ride that had an upholstery on it, you know, with fabric and sponge rubber or whatever. And so they always used to pester my dad, oh, please come travel with us so that, you know, you can work on this stuff all year for us. Not when we just get to come to Kingston or get to come to this area and stuff. So the one year they finally talked my father into it. And so we were just going to follow for the season. They paid my father big money just to follow, just to do upholstery on the rides. And so that's when I would start helping and stuff. I was 9 years old at the time. And I would start helping. And then me and my father would stand and look at the kids' faces. You know, the thoughts in their minds and stuff, and just sit and discuss. Look at these kids don't have a worry in their mind. They don't have to worry what's happening tomorrow or what happened yesterday or who did something to them yesterday and stuff. It's just that whole awesomeness of the moment of riding the ride
Yeah.
Yep.
and stuff. And I couldn't tell you
For that
How
brief
many
moment,
times over
they
the
were
years?
taken away from everything.
Right. And we'd play shows and did so many little town bazaars, church bazaars, firemen's bazaars with our equipment. And I couldn't tell you how many times a day we'd give away free rides.
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch some guy come up half drunk and stuff and tell his kids. Now, mind you, we used to only charge $1 a ticket and 1 ticket a ride for all the little rides.
Yeah.
So it was $1. Guy would be coming up sloshing himself. All right, now, Junior, this is going to be the last ride. And he'd slash his $3, $4 beer down on the counter and sitting there, and we got a roll of money and going to give the kid $1 to ride the ride. Me and my father yell over to the help, make sure the kid gets a nice long ride or give him a second ride, spin him again and stuff, because you can tell the kid had nothing. Meanwhile, the father's over there getting another beer because he's already spilled half of that one, drank that down,
It's one of those things, I guess. You take all social and economic out. You can have a kid that comes from a family that's millionaires sitting next to a kid that they don't know where the next meal's coming from. But for that, like you said, that moment in time, they're both enjoying and having that special
fantasy
moment.
For the moment.
Right.
Just puts you into a whole nother paradise.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland for the moment.
Was there ever a ride that you saw it for the first time and you're like, yeah, I gotta work that, I gotta try that, I got whatever?
Well, when I was 10, we were traveling with Coleman Brothers out of Middletown, Connecticut. And we went up to play a fair along by the Thousand Islands. I want to say it's Monroe County or something like that. And another show booked in this ride called the Cobra. It was all green and white. I had never seen one before.
Is that why your fascination with green came from?
Maybe. So I was working a dime pitch. And I used to get 10 cents for every dollar I took in.
Wow.
And stuff, working a dime pitch. And at 10 years old, I was pulling down $150, $200 a week, And so I had a great job. But I was so excited because I was waiting for the first day of the fair. The ride would be set up and I'd get a chance to go over and ride on it and stuff. So my father happened to be giving a break to the guy on the Hurricane ride right on the other side of the Cobra and stuff. He was breaking one of his help. So I have to go over and tell my father that I'm going to go ride the Cobra. Well, as I left my little backpack in the joint, the dime pitch. And my boss yells to me as I'm running, and I'm going to duck underneath it's a semi-trailer for the Cobra, and it's a fifth wheel, So as I'm getting ready to duck under, my boss yells to me, because I got to go under that to get to my father on the other side to tell him I'm going to ride this ride. But he did. I look back, and as I turn my head back around, full forehead right into the diamond plate steel of the thing. Knocked me out cold. They picked me up off the ground. I woke up in a first aid camper alongside the racetrack, because that's where they transported me to. They're waiting to see if they're going to transport me by ambulance to the hospital. And my mom and dad are standing over me and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, they're like, you ran into the new ride and stuff. And I'm like, but I was going to ride it. I wasn't allowed to ride it all week because I still had an egg on my head. They didn't send me to the hospital. I had to sit in the first aid tent for a few hours to make sure I didn't have any other problems and stuff. But I walked around for like 3 days with this big giant egg going across my forehead. The last day of the fair, I finally got to ride the Cobra and stuff. I was like so excited. I was just dying to ride this thing, and it knocked me right out.
Was the ride worth it at the end of the week?
It was a thrill just because it was something different.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good ride. It was a great ride. A Cobra, basically 2 spindles on one big shaft, and it has all like little Ferris wheel seats that go around in circles as the whole ride is propelling around and stuff. So it was a very simple ride, but it was a thrill because it was something new I never rode before.
Yeah.
And I was always ready to try anything and stuff. And I always loved being with that show because the one owner's daughter was just a year older than me. So every time we got a chance, we were either on the Skydiver or on the Super Loop or on the Zipper and stuff, because we were one of the few kids. There was like 4 kids on that Midway that were regulars. So we always be doing stuff together.
That's awesome.
All right, we're doing a makeshift.
Okay.
This week's top 5. Your top 5 favorite rides to ride at an amusement park.
Okay. I'll start us off. I guess number 5, very basic, but a really good merry-go-round.
Yeah. Big,
Very
beautiful
good
carousel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wildwood Boardwalk, they've got a lot of great rides
Yeah,
down there. They've got some huge carousels. So
big wooden horses with real horse tails and manes on them and stuff.
Painted
all the
up.
brass. Yep.
Yeah, beautiful.
A traditional carousel.
Yeah, a nice traditional carousel.
Number 5?
I would almost agree with them. I love the simple old fashioned rides.
Yeah.
I would put that right there in my top category of probably number 5. So that sounds like a good choice.
All right.
All right, my number 5, I'm going to go the Desperado Plunge.
Oh.
At Lake George's Great Escape.
That's my number 4.
All right. Well, I mean, the thing about it is it's the first water ride I can ever remember being a part of.
Might as well.
Getting in the log flume.
Charlie Wood put that into Great Escape in the early 80s. And he advertised that before it opened.
Was it still Storytown back then?
Yeah, it was still Storytown.
Yeah.
And before it became Great Escape. And the Desperado Plunge, and they were giving away hats at the Saratoga County Fair for it, and they had one of the cars there on like a tilted trailer so that you could see it like coming downhill.
Yeah, and for people,
and they had all these big giant foam hats they gave away.
I remember the Desperado Plunge foam sheriff hats.
And for people who aren't from the Northeast and haven't had a chance to get to Great Escape up here, they look like big carved out logs.
Yeah. Or some people call it the log flume.
Yeah,
but it's the Desperado Plunge.
Yep.
That's amazing, right? And that's your 4.
That's
What's
my
your
4?
4?
Yeah.
My 4, I would probably have to. I like the sky rides, the simple.
Oh, the
sky
like
rides.
Just the
great
ski lift kind of.
Great
sky
Adventure
ride?
used to have a really long one.
They did
that ran across the park,
like the round balls that you sat in that go across the big. Yeah.
And then Massachusetts, over in Springfield, there, Six Flags New England.
Yes.
Which used to be the old Riverside Park.
Yeah. Even Great Escape's got a nice one just to get you off your feet and kind of relax.
That's actually one of the last few that are still going. And that's the simple one with just the seat with just a little roof over it.
Yep.
And stuff. Where you sit and you ride over to people and you keep looking up the way to make sure somebody's going to spit on you or drop their soda.
What's your 4?
My number 4 is going to be I don't know if I want to put this far down, but I'm going to have to. The Blizzard. It's the indoor ride. They call it different things.
Like the one over in Mass?
Yeah, that's outdoor, but in Great Escape, it's indoor. It's got like 4 different arms, and you kind of whip around.
You're talking about the one in the igloo, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a scrambler.
The scrambler. That's what it's the scrambler, but they call it the Blizzard.
Yeah. Right.
What's cool about those is that Great Escape Forever, you get inside like a dome that's dark, and then they have like rock music playing with a light show. Yeah. So like Hughes is there. Next thing you know, you can't see him for shit, and then you're like, I'm gonna hit him, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Yep.
Yeah, but that 100%. So the scrambler / Blizzard at Great Escape, and it's always like, I can tell you the first time I ever heard, oh my God, Radioactive. I was in the scrambler.
What a great song!
Or the Blizzard.
Yeah.
First time I ever heard it. I remember it walking out. I'm like, God, man, that song was awesome. I want to go back in there and hear that again.
All right.
That's my number 4.
All right. My number 3 would be, I love Lazy Rivers.
Yep.
But specifically the Lazy River at Six Flags New England. Because I like the one part where you're coming back around and they've got the water cannons that people can shoot down at you.
Oh, yeah.
And then the waterfall that comes down over the thing as you go under it. The oddest thing I've ever seen, and I know it was a religious thing, people were on that ride fully clothed.
Yeah.
They're the people you want to soak the most from.
Yeah, they're fully clothed, riding around in a tube, saturated from head to toe.
Because the chlorine smells better than the clothes.
Yeah, probably. They're going to be a different shade after they get out, too. That red shirt's going to be pink, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh. Yep.
But yeah, I'll go with that Lazy River.
Yeah, I always used to make sure I had a pocket full of quarters any amusement park. The other thing I used to like is they have the remote control boats.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'd spend quarters in those.
What's your number 3?
Uh, I love the old fashioned train rides. Again, I like a lot of the nostalgia
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and like Six Flags Great Escape
yeah. Hmm.
and stuff. It still has the CP Parker up there and stuff, which was made by Chance, which made all sorts of carnival rides and buses and stuff. And but just to get on that train ride and just ride around all the different stuff, and again watching everybody else having fun from the train ride
Hmm.
and stuff, and just the environment of it. I could ride a train ride like that 2 or 3 times in a day in an amusement park,
Yeah.
as long as the line ain't too long.
Yeah.
And the other thing like that was the swan boats that they would have
Oh
up in
yeah,
that
yeah,
park.
yeah, yeah.
And get on that swan boat
Yeah.
and just go up that little brook, and follow along and just watching people watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My number 3 is going to be. Christ, I just had it in my head. Where'd it go? This dude said swan boats, and I lost it. The Bizarro Superman.
Oh,
That's a cool ride.
That's a really cool ride.
Didn't dare go on it, but it's a cool
And
ride.
I'll slash it.
Yeah.
And say the Steamin' Demon.
Okay.
That was the first ride I ever went that went upside down.
yeah.
Okay.
And that was very exclusive to Great Escape. I have a picture. I'm sitting on Santa's lap when I'm like 6 or 8, and it says Steamin' Demon, and it's got because I rode it. You know what I mean?
You got the T-shirt.
It was Boston's first ever ride. I think all 3 of my kids, the first ever ride they ever did, a loop-de-loop and a corkscrew.
Yeah.
And that thing used to be awesome. That was
Yeah.
an awesome ride. That was like you looked forward to it. It almost pains me when you go now and the line's not long. You can get on, keep getting on like nothing.
Right.
Yep.
It takes you longer to walk around from the exit of the ride to get back on it than it does to ride the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
such a short coaster.
Yeah.
Where are we at? 2?
2.
Number 2, the giant swings on the Maurice Pier in Wildwood.
Yeah.
Bro, that is my number 2 also, the swing ride.
Yes.
Where you just get in a swing set and they pick you up and just...
To me, for me, it combined the best of both worlds. I love that ride. Just the feeling of like you're flying from a seat, but as you're going around, I get to see the beach and the ocean and then the boardwalk. To me, it was something I'll always have like the fondest memories for.
Yeah, and nothing but the chain holding you.
That's it.
Fiberglass seat and a chain.
And you're like, holy fuck.
Yep.
Talk about dangers.
Yeah.
Now they got the new one, like over Six Flags New England. That's like 100, 120 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then you go all the way up and then swinging around.
Yeah, that thing better have a fucking like thick chain like that if I'm getting on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they got it on the biggest hill there
Yeah.
when you come up to it. So it's already got, 60 feet of ground underneath it before you even get to go up the 100 feet of the ride itself.
Yeah.
What's your
It's
number
phenomenal.
2?
My number 2 is definitely any kind of ride that's enclosed, like an enclosed roller coaster.
Yeah.
Used to have the one with the big skull on down the Great Adventure. And they used to have one in the back part of the Western town up in Great Escape that was all inside.
Oh, yeah, and that one building, right? Desperado Plunge was here.
Yep.
That thing was right there
Yep.
for like 2 summers, and you never saw it again.
Yeah. It's been, for a while, they used it as a haunted house.
Yeah.
And then they stopped using it. It's now nothing but a warehouse for Six Flags up
Or
there.
on a grander scale would be like
Rock and roller
Space
coaster.
Mountain.
Space Mountain,
Yes.
rock and roller coaster, same thing.
But
indoors.
it's like you riding the scrambler inside
Yeah.
that igloo. The feeling of not being able to see where you're going, and then all of a sudden you're going over a hill, and then you're going up, and it's bang, and back
like-
around, and you have no real sense. You're trying to look as far as you can in the dark
right.
to see where
To
you're
see
going.
nothing.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And in reality, any of those rides out in the open wouldn't be nearly as good as they are
Oh, yeah.
in enclosure. So
And of course, my kids would always love it because they always knew what I was going to do. All I'd have to do is go in Houdini or anything like that in the dark, and I would have let out that scream and make everybody else go, woo!
Mine too was the swings. So
Yeah.
we're up to your number 1.
My number 1, fortunately, it's no longer got taken out by some arsonists back in the 90s.
I
Castle,
remember this.
Castle Dracula, Wildwood.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
And what
jam.
was the
There were
draw?
2 parts. First was the walkthrough of the castle, which had a lot of character actors inside
Yeah.
doing it, and then they had animatronics doing different things like beheadings and stuff like that. And then the bottom of the castle, they had a moat, so you went through the dungeon ride, and that's where
Right.
you got on this boat with like the Grim Reaper on the top leading you through, and you get a lot more animatronics. But coming on the boardwalk, depending upon where you came on, once you got down towards where Castle Dracula was, you heard the organs playing that.
Yeah.
And Dracula would there was like a balcony, and you'd see the doors fly open, and he would come out and say stuff to the crowd, then go back in. Every once in a while, pop back out, and then I remember the big thing was you go in, and then when you enter the castle, you're in what would be like a living room or a formal dining room with a big fireplace. The lights would go out, the fire would come up, and then all of a sudden, on top of the mantle is like the guy that's going to lead you through the entire castle. It was awesome. It really was.
Nice.
And you can still go on eBay, and one of these days I'm going to do it. They were able to go in and take a lot of stuff when they were cleaning up the castle after it burned down. A lot of the ornate fixtures and stuff you can actually find on eBay and buy to have. So
Nice.
that would be awesome.
Well, they had the big one in Six Flags Great Adventure,
Yeah.
and that burnt down in, I want to say, the 80s on that. And that was because of people smoking inside there, because that was a full walkthrough.
Yeah.
And that's what people smoking.
There you go, smoking in the 80s.
That's it.
Smoke
everywhere.
Yeah, that's it.
What's your number one?
My number one is the Superman ride that they had in Six Flags Great Adventure down in Jersey, where you actually laid on your chest and flew the whole roller coaster through and stuff. And that feeling of flying.
Actually being able to fly.
Yeah, kind of like me on the bicycle now, where I'm doing the Superman on the bicycle.
Yeah.
But that feeling of having your arms out and your body out. I mean, they have Six Flags New England has the one that's like a paratrooper over there that you can ride around in circles doing it, but it's not even the same. Being on that roller coaster atmosphere on your chest with that whole flight and going up and down around the curves,
that's
stuff.
Wild.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite amusement park ride.
My number one, I don't even know what it's called. Hughes will probably know. And they always have great music on it, and you get in a cart, and it's the one where it's just a circle.
You know, like a Music Express or Flying Dogs.
Yes.
But it goes up and around and back down.
And it's super fast, and you always want to be the heavier person sitting on the outside.
Right.
Yep.
So you're not crushing somebody.
On the inside, yeah.
Yeah, it's all that ride always to me, it was just like you got on it and music.
Flashing lights and blaring music.
Right. Music is a big part of rides.
Yeah,
it
is. And I think when you have more music involved, it makes them better.
The whole atmosphere,
right?
The setting, you know.
And I've kept mine pretty nostalgically, not to this new stuff. Like,
right.
I've gone on rides now where, like the Harry Potter ride, unfucking real, dude. Like,
right.
You have things coming up, and you're like, this. Am I in the movie? Like,
yeah.
I'm more about the old school. I can't believe you never said the Gravitron.
Well, because you were talking amusement parks. Very few amusement parks
rides.
There's very few amusement parks had a Gravitron.
Did
Great Escape did?
They would.
That's what I meant. Great Escape had one, right?
Where
you're pinned to the wall.
No, they had a rotor.
Oh, that's
the rotor.
Okay.
Rotor is where you stand in the steel tube, and the operator would stand above you.
Right.
And then the centrifugal
Gravitron
force holds you to the wall.
Middle.
Seeing somebody vomit in the rotor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuck to the wall next to you.
Yeah. Well, see, in the Gravitron, when you're running the Gravitron, you're actually riding with the people. So when I'm running a Gravitron, I sit like this. I'm dead center. I'm on the center of the ride itself, because otherwise the G-force would pull you out to the walls.
Right.
You're only doing 36 RPMs, but you would never think that you're going that slow, because the G-force throwing you in, and the way it's holding you up against the wall, you could stand on the wall and everything.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies, we'd get in sometimes at night and just sit and try to walk from the exit all the way back around again.
I have a question. Because they always had good music on Gravitron.
Yep.
This coming from the 80s, did you have to record it with a tape cassette somewhere?
I had some with tape. I had some with video screens. I used to have one that had 4 video screens in it. And I would play everything from the California Raisins video on it to, anything I could get a hold of that was a good concert video and stuff. But you had to try to find short versions because you didn't want a long version to keep going to multiple rides.
I think of that crazy track from Willy Wonka when they're going through on the ride and it's speeding up, then you see like the centipede crawling over somebody, and it gets crazy, and then boom, you're at the end.
Yeah. Well, the Gravitron is such an awesome ride to run.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome ride to ride. A lot of people are afraid of it. But running it, like I say, if I went like this and flicked my hat off, my hat would fly out and hit the wall.
Right.
So I was running the Gravitron for Amusements of America at the Coastal Carolina Fair, South Carolina, right?
Hell yeah.
And I'm jamming.
What town was it?
It's not too far from
like Murrell's Inlet,
not too far from Myrtle Beach and all that there and stuff.
Conway.
I don't remember. I remember going out to the ocean and we were watching the dolphins.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina U was in Conway, so maybe it's got to be damn near close.
But it was awesome fair, and I'm down there playing DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince and stuff like that, and I had the people rocking so much on the Gravitron that the ride is rocking.
That's awesome.
And stuff. And I'm running full loads, and I'm sick as a dog. So I'm having my help work all the time as much as possible, so I'm not having to run the ride. So when I run the ride, anytime I would throw up, I have a plastic bag in there with me, and I turn on the floodlights so that the people wouldn't see me, because you have 45 seats in there.
Yeah.
And if anybody sees the operator throw up, guess what they're doing? Yeah, exactly. Chain reaction. So I have to throw on the floodlights every time I go to throw up so that the people are blinded. Because they're from in the dark ride with all the lights and music going.
You can't see, you're not going to see dead center.
1,000-watt floodlights going poof in your eyes.
Yeah.
Like this, pull yourself back together, wipe your mouth off, and hide your bag down between your legs, and sit there and keep rocking to people.
That ride's so good, the operator throws up.
That's it. Any near misses on a ride? One I can think of for me was me and Andrew Wells up at Great Escape in the water park, and it's that giant cone where you get launched down in the tube and you go way up the sidewall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost went too far up the sidewall. My momentum carried us up to the tippy top.
Near misses or blow aparts? You want one of those?
You got a blow apart?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I take my nephew Cougar, who's probably like, let's see, I'd say like 8 or 9 on a 2-man tube ride at Zoom Flume. And we come down, and then it's a pool of water.
Yeah.
And then it's rug to stop you. And then at the end is a thing, probably like, I don't know, the length of this room past the pool of water and up the hill is tires, like all together, and a fence. Like, that's it. There's the end of the ride. So I look back, and Kahuna, my nephew Zach, and my brother-in-law Larry, who's huge at the time, and Zach, who's a little fat fucker at the time, get on the 2-man ride, and me and Cougar are looking back, and I go, this is going to be awesome. And they come by, and we're standing there, and they go by like this. They skip over the water pool, up the thing, and blow through the tire off the ride, closing the ride for the rest of the day.
Oh, my God.
They blew the fence apart. And Larry's going, I should sue this fucking place. I'm like, sue this place? That's like fucking 500 pounds of fucking flesh coming out.
Oh, that's awesome.
And right through the fence.
Yeah, there was some... The one tube ride that you ride with everybody on it up there, Zoom Flume.
Yeah.
It puts you right up on the edge, man, and you feel like you're going to go right over that edge, curling and stuff.
The one where everybody carries it up the hill, and then you get in? Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, there's a couple of times. I had a couple things up there made me go,
yeah.
And it's right this year, we just bought season passes for me, the wife, and the grandkids.
Yeah.
They go to Zoom Flume all season this year.
Nice.
Because we're from the campground, we're 11 minutes away. We're excited.
I haven't been in, at least a good 20, 22 years. I can't imagine how much it's changed in that.
What, Zoom Flume?
Yeah.
As long as they have the original Zoom Flume, I'm good.
I like the Alpine.
With the pads.
The Alpine coaster.
They have a great wave.
That's gone now.
Is it really?
That's been gone.
Oh, man.
The Alpine coaster, I think that thing's been gone for years.
So you sit on the little car with the brakes?
Yeah. Or they just hadn't used it for years. Maybe they refurbished it. Do you remember when you used to get on the Soca Buddy? You'd race with the bikes right next to each other to put the buck in it.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yep.
Let's hit one of these, and then we can get out of here.
All right.
We have done before. Over and under. Is it overrated or underrated? You be the judge. There's no push, and we can ask Hughes anything about carnivals we want.
All right. Overrated or underrated basketball games?
As far as skill or for being just the fun part of it?
I think the fun part is legit. I guess this is what everybody wants to know: are those rims different than any other basketball rim?
Most every one of them.
Really?
Yeah. Very few are official rims.
Okay.
Otherwise they would put a sign up there, official, NBA rims or something like that.
Yeah.
Most of them are oval.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it
gives the same appearance. Right. It gives the same appearance, but it's more like an eyeball shape, more oval.
Right. Okay.
And stuff. So it changes your shot. And they always change the foul lines and stuff like that. So it's the same foul distance that you would be shooting if you're walking up shooting shots all day.
Yeah.
So then you're going to go to the carnival and let me show you how this is done. Oh, how did I miss that? Oh, it's got to be rigged. No, it's not really rigged. It's just that it's not the same shot that you're
right. Because I'll watch the guy, one of the worker, take two balls and put them through the rim at the same time. So technically it's wide enough to get a shot in there.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a whole different skill level.
Yeah.
So is it overrated or underrated as a game?
As a game, it's probably underrated because it's a lot of fun just to sit down here and shoot.
Okay.
I mean, you see amusement parks and carnivals still using them to this day.
Okay.
Carnival
food.
Carnival food is some of the best food in the world.
So you're going to say underrated?
Underrated? Yes, I would say. Because a lot of people are afraid to experience a lot of the stuff that's out there.
What's the craziest?
Deep-fried Oreos.
What's the craziest carnival food you've tried?
I can tell you what my favorite is.
Okay.
And that's fried cheese.
Oh, that's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Is it just like a big mozzarella stick?
No, you take like Velveeta cheese, you square it off, you put it on a candy apple stick, and then you put it in the cornmeal or the batter, depending on what you're using, and then put it in the deep fry. And then all that cheese is all melty, ooey gooey inside. So it's like that nice warm cornbread.
Nice mozzarella stick.
The bomb.
The one,
but you said like candy apples. That's all carnival food. They're underrated.
Cotton candy.
Yeah. The corn there, the popcorn.
Well, here's something most people don't realize. They all think cotton candy. Oh, that's all sugar. There's usually less sugar in a whole bag of cotton candy than there is in one soda. I bet you there's less sugar than what you have in your iced coffee.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, and because a little teaspoon will make a whole bag of cotton candy.
The grossest thing I've seen, and I think it's just because of looking at it, knowing what it is deep fried sticks of butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they cover them in the same batter and then fry them. Like, who in God's name is going to eat a stick of butter?
Yeah. My sister Robin would.
That's
number 3.
I would try it.
Yeah.
I haven't had it, but I would try it.
Yeah.
Take a bite anyway. Number 3. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think of a ride.
Come on, Winnie.
Dead air.
Well,
all right, the slides with the little
with the sack.
Yeah, the little sack.
Yeah.
I think they're fun.
Yeah, they're awesome, and it's what you call a dependable ride, standard ride for most carnivals and shows and fairs, because a lot of big fairs will have their own slides.
Yeah. Do they wax them down to keep them nice and slick?
Yep.
Yeah.
We used to have one, and every week I used to have to go out there with turtle wax and wax it, and then in between you go out with pledge, and you ride down on a slide and you sit there pledging it the whole way and stuff, and then go down the next lane, and then come back over, do the other, and then once a week you would turtle wax it and stuff, and then that was hard.
Have you ever seen somebody come off that a little too fast?
Oh, I've seen plenty of people and myself come off that a little too fast.
So underrated. All right. Good old-fashioned fun houses.
Good old-fashioned fun houses. There's nothing more fun to deal with, and the most fun is being the person that's hiding in there waiting to scare somebody.
And you love
So
it.
you're saying
I absolutely love
underrated.
it. That's how I learned how to scream.
Yes.
Underrated?
Underrated for sure, because so many people are afraid to go in.
Yep.
They'll talk, oh, I ain't paying to go in that thing. It's because most of the time they're too scared to go in.
Yeah.
All right. How about a good old carnival magic show?
Well, I mean, depends on the
On the
magician,
person doing it?
You know, yeah. You know, you can get all sorts of acts doing different things.
Have you seen like the really bad ones?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when you're doing little town bazaars and
Yeah.
stuff, you get volunteer people. They'll perform a little show or something. And then I've seen some really great ones. My favorite thing was going to the fairs and watching Joey Chitwood thrill drivers and stuff, and watching the demolition derbies. And we used to go to Afton Fair and watch them do motorcycle races out there, and they get the kids out there on the little 50s and 75s racing and stuff, fall down, get back up. Dads come out, shake them, knock the dirt off them, get them back on their bike and ride again.
All right.
Stuff. Yeah.
That's it.
I got one bonus one.
Okay.
Musical acts at a fair.
Oh, I've seen many.
So underrated in overall?
Do you think it
No,
takes
'cause
away from the experience, or do
I-
you think it adds?
I think most of the time at a fair, you get a closer view.
Okay.
You know, I mean, some fairs are set up for, like Orange County Fair, always
Oh, you
has
start
great
at
concerts
Vegas,
all year
yeah.
round. I see Motley Crue there and everything
Metallica,
else.
everybody.
I watch Motley Crue fly right in
That's
for their
cool.
performance and stuff. That's when they first come out with Girls, Girls, Girls.
Yeah.
And all the girls come out in their little nurses' outfits and stuff.
Yeah, you better wrap up over under.
That's where I seen one of my best fights.
At a
my buddy
concert?
that went with me,
Oh,
he
boy.
won his tickets from WPDH on his wheelchair. He was doing wheelies on his wheelchair when they used to have that boom box that went around,
Yep.
and they give away tickets. We won the tickets for White Snake and Motley Crue.
Nice.
We go down, and we're up to, there's a chain link fence. There's a little girl and a mother and father that are right next to us. They brung their daughter up next to my buddy, and I'm standing behind him in his wheelchair, holding on to the back of his wheelchair. Like, this idiot, stoned out of his mind, comes up out of the pits and steps up, and he goes right in front of my buddy in the wheelchair. My buddy reaches through and pokes him through the thing. Yo, what are you doing? He goes, oh, sorry. He moves over and moves in front of the little girl. And the father's like, excuse me, my daughter's trying to watch the concert. The guy turns around and shrugs his shoulders. My buddy grabs the fence and shakes it again. Says, yo, you didn't see what that guy said about his daughter? The guy shrugged his shoulders again. My buddy climbed out of the wheelchair, up over the fence, reached over, grabbed the guy by the top of his head, boom, knocked him out, and he falls down into the pits.
God.
Best fight I ever seen in my life.
Oh, man.
Yeah, one of those moments you never forget.
Absolutely.
And
You
the
know who
crowd
else was
around
at
us
that
went
concert?
crazy.
Oh,
He didn't see the concert, but he was there. Ronnie Gould.
Oh,
Silver
sure.
Fox. He was
He's
in the
just
back
there.
of the Trans Am with
Yeah.
some chick.
yes, he was.
Yeah. That's all I got, dude. I'm good.
All right. I'm glad you stopped in, and I do want to do a part two.
That was fun.
Want to have you back for a part two, because the next episode I'd like to talk to you about is the whole model world.
Oh,
And that's a whole nother
yeah.
big passion of yours. It'll be fun to talk about that as well. So, but I'm good for today, bud. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
I think if you can't listen to this episode and not smile just thinking about going to the carnivals and going to the fairs and going to amusement
Riding
parks.
a ride and
Right.
just letting your inhibitions down and enjoying something that you're not quite sure about.
Absolutely.
Just-
Like, whoa, holy cool.
Just thinking about my buddy climbing over the fence.
That was
And
yeah,
the
beating
crowd
somebody
cheering.
up.
The people all were cheering because he climbed over the fence out of his wheelchair. Hit that guy.
Oh, that's
The
funny.
crowd went crazy all around us.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right, take us home.
All right, for Hughes and G-Mac.